Welcome back to Talking with Our Traders, a Caesar Sportsbook original series, the podcast that takes you inside the mind of the sportsbook with our very own Caesar Sportsbook traders. I'm your host, Cindi Edwards, and with me today and all season long is Craig Mucklow, Vice President of Trading here at Caesar Sportsbook.
Hello there.
And Joey Fiesel, Head of Football here at Caesars.
Hello.
Hey guys, how are we doing?
Good.
Hanging in there.
Good?
Yeah.
All right, love to hear it. Let's get into some college football. Joey, is South Florida a lock to make the college football playoffs as the automatic Group 5 bid?
The South Florida Bulls are not a lock, but they've become the clear Group of 5 favorite going into this week. Odds have shifted from 35-1 to plus 350 to make the playoff.
Wow.
After the back-to-back impressive wins, might I say. But Miami this week is going to be a major hurdle. I know that they've taken care of teams where they've been double-digit favorites in the last 2 weeks, but it's still going to be a hurdle. And the problem with these non-Power 4 teams is they don't necessarily just run the table. They don't have the depth. They don't have the talent. So there's going to be an American game where they should win, and they don't. It's just what's going to happen. So they're the leader in the clubhouse right now, but certainly not a lock.
Yeah, plus 350 is not a lock price, is it? And they're only 15% chance to beat Miami this weekend.
Yeah.
The only thing they've got going for them is there's thunderstorms and rain, so maybe the weather's an equalizer, but plus 350 is no lock.
You think there's a possibility they can get it done against Miami?
No.
All right. Which team is in bigger trouble for the rest of the season, Clemson, Alabama, or Florida?
Alabama looks vulnerable. Clemson's looks also vulnerable, but their path is much easier. ACC, Florida's toast. It was in bigger trouble. They're in trouble to make a bowl game right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like dropping that game to South Florida was horrific, and their schedule does not get any easier. So that's the one you have to take care of. So yeah, their win total at 5.5. They're the ones that are in trouble out of those three.
I'm English, and I may or may not know American terminology, but is toast an American term?
Yeah. Well,
because my words are
Yeah, they don't have toast in England?
with marmalade, lime marmalade. Look, Joey's read my notes again. Florida's season is toast already. That was my first line, so I'm not even contemplating Florida. Clemson's schedule is far easier. Mm-hmm. Alabama have 7 ranked opponents to play. 3 of those, they could be a big road favorite, and that means Alabama usually lose straight up when they're a 2-touchdown road favorite. So Alabama's the one that's in the biggest trouble. Florida, forget it, they're out. And Clemson should get through.
All right. Which team is the biggest liability as it stands to win the college football playoffs?
Florida State. Tommy Castellanos has impressed, and people have taken interest at the betting window. And, whether they get there or not, they have to go through Clemson. I don't think there's going to be multiple ACC teams that are going to make it. I think the committee's going to press the button down on the Big Ten and the SEC like they always do late in the year. But they've been impressive, especially offensively.
And they were 90-1 as well when we laid them. So you build up a liability.
Yeah,
that's
big
awesome.
odds usually builds up a big liability. Of the contenders, it's LSU 8-1, Clemson 18s, and Oklahoma at 22s. But there's a long way to go.
Yeah, definitely.
And Oklahoma did look good on Saturday.
Yeah. All right. What's driving the shift in odds for Clemson and Georgia this week? Is it performance-based or power rating recalibrations? We saw Georgia dropped from -6 to -3.5, and then Clemson opened -6 and dropped to -3.
The Georgia one, I think Georgia has a lot of injuries, but they have the depth. So that one was really, I think, injury-based and a little bit of power ratings. I think that goes along with that Georgia is struggling, but, the depth problems that Georgia's dealing with compared to Nevada. Okay, one your starter's out, we got another 5-star waiting. And on the other side, the Clemson one, that one's just a power rating move based on what I've seen. I mean, I had it much higher, and it crashed down. So from what I can see on that one, that's just a power rating move, and maybe Clemson's not the.
Everybody's buying in too much of the Troy performance.
Yeah,
They started out bad, they won the game. Money is the reason Georgia and Tennessee, and we'll get to that later.
Okay.
All right. Let's get into some game previews. Number 6, Georgia looking to right there. Number 6, Georgia is looking to extend their win streak to 9 against number 15, Tennessee, on Saturday. Joey, what are bettors seeing here?
So this is Tennessee's first real test against this Georgia front. Like we talked about, maybe there's some injuries that it's going to hurt their depth, but again, they have just 5-star weightings. Georgia has won the last 8 games by double digits. Is this going to change? I don't know. The line suggests it might, but I don't think it will. I think Georgia still gets it done.
Stockton's first road game as Georgia quarterback in a pretty hostile environment. Tennessee got plenty of practice finding the end zone last week, and they scored 72 points. Road favorites, which was my anti-angle last year on all the upsets of 3.5 points, only cover 44% of the time the last 5 years, and only win 56% of the time. So the stats obviously imply Tennessee here on the value, and that's where I'm going.
All right. Next up, we have Notre Dame versus Texas A&M. Notre Dame trying to not start 0-2 this season. Joey, break it down for us.
This can be a gritty, balanced game. Neither team really has shown their true strength thus far. They've kind of had just sneak by wins of when they beat up on the little teams. I expect it to be a very defensive game, similar to the Oklahoma-Michigan game we saw last year. And this is the big game to really keep the playoff chances alive for both teams. I think Notre Dame probably has an easier path just with their schedule, but you got to win this game if they've already lost one. So should be a defensive game. With a dog, I want to lean to with a low-scoring game. I want to lean to the dog, but I really can't pick one in this one.
Last 5 years, Notre Dame at home around the similar spreads, 7-1 against the spread and 8-0 straight up, and they scored an average of 34.5 points. On the flip side, where A&M are the dog, 0-4-1 against the spread and 0-4 straight up. So really, the historical note is on Notre Dame.
Yeah, absolutely.
Our genius behind the scenes, who does a lot at the college as well, he likes the under.
Yeah.
No real opinion for me, but if I had to, I'd probably take Notre Dame -7 just because of the historical data. And they played well in defeat in Miami, and that's a tough game.
Very true. All right, let's get into our college football game picks of the week. What is your favorite game to go over?
I like Arkansas, Mississippi. Arkansas, Ole Miss, SEC. The Arkansas's offense has looked better than in years past, and Ole Miss, they can put up the points. So over 61.5 for that game to go over for me.
Stick to the same pattern that almost got me over the line last week. Ohio State over 51.5, big favorite, score the points.
I like it. All right, favorite college football game to go under, Craig?
First half. I don't take full games in college.
Yeah, you love a first
because
half
of
under.
overtime. Just never. Notre Dame under 24.5. It might have been 24 now when I left my office.
Yeah.
I like Stanford, Boston College under 44.5. This is the circadian rhythm game, right? This is Boston College traveling to the West Coast. Game's going to be kicking off at 10:30 Eastern time. Everybody's going to be in trouble there. I like that under 44.5.
Craig, you like that?
We'll get to the next one.
All right. Favorite college football game or team to cover the spread?
You're asking me? Okay. Stanford plus 12.5. East Coast, West Coast.
Yeah, there it is.
10:30 p.m. Eastern kickoff.
Great minds think alike.
I almost took Stanford as my upset of the week, which is the only thing I got right last week. The plus 150 dog cashed.
Yeah.
Stanford at plus 425, but our college genius in the background, Ben, he's just given me 5 lunches to 1 Stanford straight up.
Yeah, Stanford is pretty bad. It's going to be a sweat for you. You're going to be upset watching Frank Reich making terrible plays on the sidelines.
3-0.
But yeah.
Joey, favorite team to cover?
I like Buffalo versus Kent State. Kent State is arguably one of the worst teams in the country.
Wonder where you got that
from. I got that from my own mind. Yeah, Buffalo
Big
minus
brain.
22. Kent State's terrible. I'm just going to take the big spread, even if it's interconference play.
All right, let's get to upset of the week. Craig, yours cashed last week. Start us off.
I did want Stanford plus 425, but I'll take the easy route. I'll go Tennessee plus 143.
Okay. I went a little bit larger with Florida taking on LSU. I think last week we looked at US. They probably were looking ahead at this game. Maybe LSU was also looking ahead because they underperformed. But I like Florida to overcome LSU to get right.
All
What
right.
price?
Let me get it for you.
Minus 300.
You wish. We are looking at money line plus 235.
Wow, you feeling okay?
I'm feeling just great.
I can't with you too. Craig, any weather we should be aware of? You mentioned some showers. What else? What else should bettors be aware of?
Yeah, there's thunderstorms flying through Florida this weekend. So Florida International, if I can put my teeth in. And the biggest wind will be Hawaii at 15 miles an hour. But other than that, pretty uneventful week again. Like the weather gods don't like my
No, not this year.
Well, just
betting
wait.
patterns.
Just
Yeah.
wait. Okay, let's switch focus to NFL. Guys, biggest takeaways from week 1. We finally got to see some action,
The Dolphins are going to have a tough time this season.
which you guys did call,
We did
I'd like
call
to
that.
say.
But Danny Dimes putting up the numbers, which I think Craig had, that
Cash that passing over by
Yep.
halftime.
very easily. It's not a good sign that Miami will be participating in the Super Bowl year, so that's my biggest takeaway.
I got 3, but Daniel Jones wasn't a surprise, and I followed it up with money of my own because that Dolphins secondary is bad. The Dolphins defense made Daniel Jones look like Daniel Constantine Marino. That's how good he looked.
He did.
Yeah, halftime he cashed that. Like Jones, being a New York quarterback is clearly soul destroying. Aaron
Yeah.
Rodgers put up 34 points, coming of age against in the double revenge game against Justin Fields. So kind of expected, but for me, it's the two people with the biggest reputations coming in: Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn, and how times change.
Oh, yeah.
Johnson's the offensive genius, and the Bears scored once on the opening drive, and then the defense and then just gave the game away. So they scored in garbage, but that doesn't count. And on the other side, Aaron Glenn, the defensive genius, gave up 34 points to a 40-year-old.
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah, very rough. Well, I guess we can kind of combine these, but most surprising performance, we mentioned Daniel Jones. Bengals offense didn't look great. You mentioned Aaron Rodgers. Someone else?
I think J.J. McCarthy kind of turning it up in the second half. Like he had that pick 6.
Yeah.
But everybody was writing him off. I mean, I've been a J.J. McCarthy fan, and I got a few texts saying this guy's garbage. And he really turned it on in that late third quarter, put the team on his back. Was really impressive to me to start that game out. He is kind of a rookie, but to just really turn it on in that fourth quarter and take that game over. Did the Bears help him? Probably. Did Caleb have a lot of inaccurate passes? Sure. But I really think to overcome that big of a deficit was impressive to me.
Brian Flores I was a massive fan of his when he was in Miami.
Right.
What a defensive genius, and he out-coached Ben Johnson.
Oh, yeah, he did.
Surely. All right. Well, speaking of his time in Miami, Mike McDaniel now has a 3-15 record against teams above 500. Is it time for the Dolphins to move on?
Probably. I think you need a rebuild. I think he's lost the locker room. We've seen kind of things go different ways. Like Craig said, the secondary is in absolute shambles, and you're not going to be able to compete in this league without a secondary. I'm not sure the Dolphins will move on mid-season, but I think he'll be gone by the end of the year.
Yeah.
As the Dolphins guru in the building, it's time to move on from Chris Grier, the GM. 50% of their salary cap is wasted on 5 players. That gives you no money to use in free agency. They haven't drafted well. Tua was a terrible decision when Justin Herbert's right behind you.
Right.
That's not Mike McDaniel's fault. They drafted Tua when Brian Flores was there. They've got no power running games. They can never control the clock. If it's 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, they're not converting it because they don't have their game. They've got no offensive line. They've got no secondary and absolutely no hope for this season. They will beat the Patriots this weekend, but that will be it.
You think?
I hope so.
Banking on that? Yeah. I agree. Okay, let's move on. The last time the Chiefs were 0-1, they won the Super Bowl. How are we feeling about their chances this time around?
They're still Super Bowl contenders. If Mahomes is at the helm, they're going to be contenders. But he's without a true wide receiver one until week 7. And Worthy, question marks there, and that's not going to help you.
Right.
But we saw him make just clutch plays. Why Mahomes is what he is. Like, they should
Yeah, he
not
looked
have even
phenomenal.
been in that game. Chargers are playing phenomenally. He's still in there. So if he's still taking the snaps under center, they're going to be a contender. But I don't think they get it done this year, though. But
All the teams say that they're keeping it professional, focusing on this week, onto Cincinnati and all of that. They had one eye on this week's game.
Oh, you think?
Oh,
the
100%.
revenge?
Because you got embarrassed in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
They had their eye on Buffalo last year. We both went for Denver straight up the week before, and it was a block field goal. Denver should have beat them. These teams always have a look at these games. They've got 10 games versus playoff opponents this year, so that's tough. Of the others, the Eagles, Lions, Cowboys, Giants, and Bears all got 10 plus against playoff teams. That doesn't bode well for any of those teams. The Chiefs will be okay. They will probably win this week because Mahomes is a dog. He's usually unbeatable.
Phenomenal. Yeah.
Tyreek Hill will be a Chief again pretty soon.
You think?
100%. I called Devontae Adams last year. Then they get the Giants, and they'll be 2-1, and then you'll be saying in week 4, did we write off the Chiefs too soon like we did last year? I mean,
Right.
they got exceptionally lucky in a number of games last year, but you need your luck.
Yeah. All right. Okay, moving on. Who were the biggest Super Bowl movers after week 1?
long list. Colts 125 to 80 to 1
For beating the Dolphins.
for beating the Dolphins. Lions 12 to 1 to 20 to 1. Packers 14 to 1 9 to 1. Raiders 90 to 1 to 80 to 1, and Dolphins 80 to 1 to 175 to 1. And finally, Bills 625 to plus 550.
Do you know when you price up your futures, do you just look at the box scores?
You know, that's incredibly invested.
Yeah.
That's why I said it.
Yeah.
We had a heated conversation, like enthusiastic conversation, Monday or Tuesday morning.
Yeah.
And I couldn't for the life of me. There's a reason why Joey manages the futures on the football team as opposed to myself. Because I would have shortened the Ravens and pushed the Bills out. Because the Ravens absolutely handled them on the road.
Yeah.
Clearly the better team.
Yeah.
Yet we pushed the odds out. I'm like, And it's rare I tell Joey, look, you need to do something here. And unfortunately, I had to use my executive willpower on this one.
Did.
Your enthusiasm.
My enthusiasm, that's the word.
Well, let's get into that game. Was the Bills' win on Sunday Night Football the result of the Ravens blowing it or Josh Allen being the rightful MVP pick last year?
More of a Ravens collapse.
Yeah.
Ravens were absolutely dominant. I mean, it was Josh Allen, and he was making plays, especially late in the game. He was definitely clutch, but Baltimore just looked great. And to Craig's credit, they just look like the number one team. And it is going to this game is going to matter because if you look at the schedule differences between the Bills and the Ravens, that's where Craig's just wants. I like that team in the playoffs, but Bills are going to have a very simple schedule moving forward. But that game for sure was just a Ravens late collapse.
I was talking about MVP I was watching the game with a couple of traders on Monday, the Bears and Vikings, and we were talking about the MVP and things like that. And the one guy turned around in a moment of clarity. He says, "Look, Baltimore were hammering Buffalo because of the offensive line, because of Derrick Henry, because of Zay Flowers, because of Lamar Jackson. Mm-hmm. The only reason the Bills were still in that game was because of Josh Allen." And he made a valid argument about the MVP market. The Bills were blind lucky on Sunday night. There's no denying it. They got a deflected touchdown pass near the end. Derrick Henry fumbling the ball.
Yeah. And
then just the craziest play decision ever.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was trading games, it was about 20 years ago. There was a game between the Patriots and the Colts, and it was a primetime game. I was trading in play, and the Patriots had the lead, and they had a 4th and 1 at their own 20, 25-yard line. And Belichick went for it.
Yeah.
And they failed to get it. The Colts kicked the field goal, won the game. Belichick got absolutely chastised after the game. And his logic was, well, hang on. I've got an MVP in Tom Brady. I can trust him to get 1 yard. Why on earth would I want to give the ball to Peyton Manning? Because I'm toast anyway.
Yeah.
And I would have just given Lamar the decision, gone for it on 4th and 3, because you are giving it to Josh Allen, and they just marched down.
I completely agree. I thought as soon as they got the ball back, they were winning the game.
I had incredible deja vu of that Colts-Patriots game. I'm like, why isn't let Lamar Jackson?
Yeah,
the
I
Zay
hated
Flowers
that call.
call was disastrous. You've got Derrick Henry or you got Lamar Jackson.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
Still the best team in the league.
Yeah, they looked, both offenses looked phenomenal. The Giants have failed to score a touchdown in their season opener in each of the last 3 years. Should the Giants consider benching Russell Wilson for Jackson Dart?
Wilson's not the answer. We all knew
Never
this
was the
going
answer.
in. No.
Yeah.
But I don't know if Dart is ready with their early season gauntlet. They got a lot of tough games coming up. Do you want to ruin Jackson Dart's confidence that early? And I don't think they do, and this is why he's not in. If they lose horribly this week, we might see him in week 3. But while Wilson's at the helm, expect more of an ugly offense and the defensive front trying to keep them in the game.
Yeah.
I got a few here. I would never have signed Russell Wilson anyway. They signed Jameis Winston and they drafted Jackson Dart. They would have scored a touchdown if Jameis Winston would have started. It might have been to the defense, but he'd have thrown a touchdown.
He would have done that.
Yeah. Russell Wilson's last great year was 2020. Since then, he's 23-33 record. He's had 5 straight losses, averaged 12.5 points a game, an $11 million cap hit for a 37-year-old. You've got Jameis Winston. He's going to be a lot cheaper. You've got Jackson Dart. They've got the toughest schedule in the league, and you don't get past the wild card round. Any team that has the toughest schedule, I don't think you throw Jackson Dart to the Wolves, especially with that schedule. But if they are 0-4, maybe the Saints week 5 out of New York on the road is the safest option. But he's getting thrown to the Wolves thereafter because that schedule is still difficult after that. So you've paid the money. I think you got to stick with him now. But now the bowl may be on the hot seat because of that decision.
Yeah.
Because they'll be calling for Jackson Dart straight away.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I'm already seeing it.
But Jackson Dart looked great against 3rd and 4th string preseason players. Let's see him in a real game.
Right. Okay, let's get into some game previews, starting off with tonight's matchup. We have the Washington Commanders versus the Green Bay Packers. Both teams had a good week 1 win over divisional opponents. Joey, break it down for us.
Packers -3 right now. I think Packers have the edge on this one. They were dominant against the Lions, but the injury report going into today does not look great, so that's going to certainly hurt them as a unit. Commanders really weren't tested against the Giants. I'm unsure of the side in this one, but I expect that we're going to see a lot of Packers money leading up to kickoff because they are the flavor of the week.
Do you think this was a coincidence that these two are playing tonight?
I don't think anything's a coincidence when it comes to the NFL.
So these two met on the first Monday night game following the disastrous 9/11 attacks. And Al Michaels called that game, and Al Michaels is calling the game tonight. Packers won that game 37-0. They've won 6 straight versus Washington at home, averaging 28 points a game. Micah Parsons has got 4.5 sacks of Jaden Daniels already in Jaden Daniels' young career. Big game for both teams. I made this for Green Bay. I suspect that I'll only lean Green Bay because I'm biased because of the Super Bowl ticket.
Yeah, right.
And I just suspect that the home crowd and the national anthem and everything that goes with tonight just gets Green. Probably Green Bay first half is probably the bet, actually.
Yeah.
All right. Next, we have the Super Bowl rematch. The Philadelphia Eagles go to visit the Kansas City Chiefs in Kansas City. Craig, you said you like the Chiefs here, so break it down for us.
Chiefs have got the best record following the loss since Mahomes entered the league. They're 24-8, which is 75%. It's a pick'em game, pretty much. I did like the Dallas money line last week because of how the math was, and Philly got a lot younger, and I think I said that when we did the filming in Monte Cristo. They got a lot younger. They did not look great. Dallas really should have won that game last week. just take Mahomes in the revenge. I mean, they were embarrassed in the Super Bowl, and I think they've been prepping. If you're going to prep all year for one game, this is the one. It's just that I had to go to Brazil last week.
Yeah. Mahomes just thrives as an underdog, and he definitely wants revenge from that Super Bowl because they were absolutely embarrassed.
Yeah.
I believe we had that.
Yeah, we did. I make this Chiefs minus a half, 51% win probability there. Market's kind of moving against where they think the Eagles are there, and I think that adds to the injuries that the Chiefs are dealing with and not having that wide receiver one, and then Travis Kelce's a little bit older, so
Yeah.
Should be a very competitive game, much more than the Super Bowl was. As Craig said, that team got much younger, but I can't really pick a side in this one, but it's going to be one that I'm watching for sure.
Judging by last week, maybe Kelsey should play defense.
Oh my God, yeah, he is. He feels bad though. You can tell he feels bad, as he should. Okay, next we have Ben Johnson's return to Detroit. We've been talking about this hypothetical regression that might happen with the Lions, and it sure looked like it did last week. What should we expect from this matchup? I think the Lions sit at -6 right now.
Yeah, Lions -6. This is Ben Johnson's revenge spot. We saw the Lions without him last week. They looked flat. But Caleb Williams, we saw with Ben Johnson, he's still got accuracy problems. So I'm leaning Bears in this spot, but only solely because I think the Lions are truly bad without Ben Johnson. But I think it's going to be a competitive game. It's not like the NFC North went away. This is still Bears-Lions. It just means a little more now. Don't feel confident in Caleb Williams, but I just do not think the Lions they're it. No.
I'm guessing we're going to be huge Bears fans because recent memory, everybody saw how bad the Bears were on Monday night, and that usually leads to a bias of money. Right. Obviously, it's the revenge game. I'm guessing Ben Johnson was probably planning for this game at the start of the fourth quarter Monday night because they had that lead and then forgot, we play 60 minutes. You can't bet it, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say there's going to be some crazy trick plays in this game. Like,
for sure.
Campbell's going to have one.
Well,
and so will Ben Johnson have one.
So
it'll be fun to watch.
Follow-up, does coach familiarity with a team affect a line at all? Because there may be these mind games on both sides.
Personally, if it was a defensive coach, I'd be more inclined, but otherwise, no.
Yeah, for the most part, no. Yeah. I think it's the coach power rating is built into how good a team is. Yeah. And same how we saw with Kevin O'Connell versus Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen got out-coached, as well as the other side. Flores out-coached Ben Johnson. So it's kind of built into how is this team, just like the Vikings going into this year, like JJ, he's unproven. They're still respected in the market because it's O'Connell at the helm. So it's already kind of built in.
All right. Well, our final game preview will be Monday Night Football happening right in our backyard at Allegiant Stadium. We have an AFC West matchup between the Chargers and the Raiders. Both of these teams got the win last week. We have Pete Carroll versus Jim Harbaugh. Who are we favoriting here in this divisional matchup?
This is Chargers -3.5.
Yeah.
Herbert looked really good in his debut.
He did.
And they were slinging the ball a lot more than I would think with a Harbaugh team. You'd think they would be running the ball more. Not so fast, my friend. Raiders got it done. It's not easy to travel to the East Coast. I'm not saying the Patriots are great or anything.
Pete Carroll's great at 10 a.m. games on the East Coast.
Yeah, that's Pete Carroll.
Yeah.
But yeah, just a really good matchup here. I like the Raiders to keep it close because I do think they're kind of slightly underrated, but I really don't have good conviction on either side.
Our biggest liability, and we'll see how really good they are coming on Monday night. The Raiders are 15-5 against the spread. We're at a disadvantage on rest days. So they played Sunday, traveled back. The Chargers played Brazil Friday. Obviously, slightly longer flight. I'm still waiting on enough data from these Brazil games. The Packers only mustered 16 points last year in a win against the Colts. Mm-hmm. The Eagles looked awful, and Kirk Cousins beat them on primetime on Monday night following their Brazil game. I'm probably be more inclined to see what the Chiefs do first on Sunday morning to see if there's any kind of line move based on that. The Chiefs come out flat, not as in like just getting beaten by a better team, but just like flat out flat. I think there's going to be an argument for the Chargers to oppose them. And then a home opener for the Raiders. Yeah, I'm going to wait until Sunday to see the Chiefs.
Yeah. Okay. And we do have this rookie running back matchup in this game as well. Which rookie running back would you be more likely to put some money behind?
I think Genti is probably the easy choice. He's very. I don't think as highly of him as the market does. They think he's the next Saquon. But if we're looking at just Hampton versus Genti, you got to take Genti.
He was favorite for Offensive Rookie of the Year, and he's still favorite now. But I was not impressed
with Genti
last week. And maybe that was the play calling. I expected him to come out and really run hard, set a standard.
Right.
He didn't. I think he only mustered about 25 rushing yards anyway. Yeah. And they didn't run the ball that often, which odd for a Pete Carroll team. So yeah, the jury's out, but I don't think there's any value on Genti on Offensive Player of the Year right now. Rookie of the Year.
I'm excited for this one. Okay, let's get into our NFL game picks. Favorite NFL game to go over?
Love the Jets-Bills over 47. We saw with the Bills, Josh Allen can just score points at will. And the Jets, Aaron Glenn was allowed a lot of points against a 40-year-old. So if he's allowing that many points, he's going to allow that many points to the Bills. Give me the over 47.
Scored 32 as well with Justin Fields.
Yeah.
Justin Fields.
My favorite over is the Giants-Cowboys over 44.5. You've got to go back 7 years for a game in Texas to go under.
All right. Favorite game to go under?
Bears.
Go on, go for it.
Bears-Lions?
Bears-Lions under 47. The Bears still the strength as a defense, and the Lions' offense has just been horrific. They couldn't run the ball, so they started running tunnel screens. So I'm taking that game to be a gritty under.
All right.
The only one I managed to get right last week. First half under, Dolphins, Pats 21.5. If you combine both their scores last week for the full game, you wouldn't get there.
Yeah. Favorite team to cover the spread?
I'm going back to the Bengals, minus 3.5. I think
Yeah.
the market just adjusted too much. I don't think the Jaguars are good. They beat up on the Panthers, which I apparently cursed to start the year, so that was already known.
And you did.
And I did. So I think it was an overreaction here. I think the Bengals are still good, minus 3.5.
I have exactly the same.
I agree there. Favorite team to upset?
I got the Bucks versus the Texans.
Ooh.
Don't really think high of this Texans team. I think they have good defense. The Bucks kind of really squeaked out a win there against the Falcons. Falcons kind of bit themselves, couldn't make a field goal. But I still think that this Bucks team is probably a little underrated against the Texans here.
Favorites went 13-3 straight up last week, so finding a dog to win is tough. But I don't know why. I'm going with the Bears plus 210 over the Lions. I just think they should have won that game. There's no way Minnesota should have got back into that game. He's obviously got an eye on this game. The bag of tricks are coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Any NFL weather to be wary of?
Oh, guess what? Miami. There's thunderstorms all week in Florida, so that's hence part of the logic.
When it
on the
rains,
Pats.
it pours.
Yes.
That's it.
All right, let's get into our anytime touchdown parlay. One pick per person. Joey, start us off.
Patrick Mahomes is going to be juiced up for this game. Certainly held an embarrassment. He is the strength of this team. He made it happen last week, just didn't get there. I'm going with Patrick Mahomes to score a touchdown in this one.
I like it. All right, after failing to score in the season opener, I'm taking Jahmyr Gibbs to bounce back with a touchdown, even though you guys are fading the Lions hard here. He did it last season as well, no touchdown in the home opener. And then he came out. So I am banking on that. Craig, what is our third and final leg?
I must be the only person who picked a touchdown scorer that didn't score in the Bills and Ravens game.
Seriously.
The offensive line must have scored. The kicker must have scored a touchdown, anything but Mark Andrews. I am going DK Metcalf in a revenge game against Seattle.
Ooh, I like it. All right, let's get to picks in general. Each of us will choose a college play, an NFL play. Joey, you want to start us off?
For my college, I am going to go back to the well. I'm going Buffalo minus 22 against Kent State. I just think Kent State's terrible. And then for the NFL, when I lost in an over. I'm going to go back to my over. That's Jets Bills over 47.
I like it. For college, I am going to take a pointer out of Craig's book, Florida LSU first half under.
Smart.
And I am going to go Bengals. I agree that they are kind of being a little bit harshly judged here. They're going to cover the spread there.
None of us are really that hungry, are we? Because we went 0-0 and Joey went 1-1.
Yeah, we didn't do great last week, but we're poised for a bounce back.
I hope so. Dolphins Pats first half under for the NFL, and I'm going to stick with Tennessee plus 3.5 because I've already won 5 lunches on Stanford. I'm cashing it now.
I like it. All right. Well, guys, I think that wraps up our episode. For those listening, make sure you subscribe to Talking with Our Traders wherever you listen to your podcasts. And please do follow us at Caesar Sports on Instagram, X, Facebook, YouTube. Guys, anything you'd like to leave the listeners with?
Fun weekend that's coming up. Bet responsibly and enjoy yourself.
Yeah. Good luck.
All right. Bye.